Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I am back with another video. This video is featuring the Hero Arts February 2023 My Monthly Hero Kit. My card is made with the premium kit, this card for the video, but I have another card that is made with the classic kit that's over as part of the blog hop. With the premium kit, you get a little bit more than the classic kit, and I'm showing you some of those items here. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we move on with the video, because I want you to understand what the difference is. And I went a little bit back and forth about whether or not to do this. This is the card that is made with the classic kit, and I just did some rainbow ink blending and some glitter paste with the stencils, and then turned it into a happy birthday shaker. And so this will just go into my stash, and I'll be able to send this, or hand deliver, let's be honest, I don't send cards. I will be able to give this to just about anyone for their birthday. So with the premium kit, let's talk classic kit first. So with the classic kit, you get the stamp set, the sentiment stamp set. You get the it's kind of like a wreath, the butterfly kind of wreath die. You get 4 stencils and an ink pad that has a bunch of colors in it that are reactive inks, which means that they work with water. And then you also get some kind of fun papers. Let's talk about what I'm doing here. So I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are cut to an A2 size card. I'm going to ink blend them exactly the same because I want one to lay on top of the other to create a layered look. And I am going to be doing this more like a night sky. So with a light blue out to pitch black and then back the other way. And I will do this to both pieces of those cardstock. So the classic kit is it's always been like a really good amount of things for the money that you pay for them. They're almost always worth like double the amount, and you can buy them as long as supplies last, or if you have a subscription, which does give you a discount, then you're guaranteed to get one. This is the first month that they've ever done the premium kit. And what Hero did is, if you were already a subscriber of the kits, they went ahead and upgraded your kit to a premium kit for no extra charge. But I believe that'll be the only month that this happens. And then with the premium kit, you get everything in the classic kit. In addition, you also get the dies, the butterfly dies, that I will be using today. And then I'm trying to remember what else is in. It's hard to remember it. You also get, the rub-ons. I showed you those. And then you get this, it's like a luster spray, so it's fuchsia and gold duo spray. So that is an additional, don't mind me banging my wedding ring on the table. I talk with my hands. So you get a lot of really good things. So let's talk price point while we finish our ink blending, shall we? So things you get with your subscription. The kit ships free. Any add-ons you purchase, because they always have add-ons, also ship free. You're guaranteed to get a kit. You get a 20% discount from the regular price. And then Hero has something called Hero Rewards, which there's a lot of other craft companies that have those. But basically, it's for every dollar you spend, you earn a point. And then if you're a subscriber, you get bonus points. If you don't subscribe, the kit is free in the US only it ships free with the, in the US only with a $75 purchase. Same with the add-ons. You run the risk that you won't necessarily get the kit, and then you pay a regular price for the rewards program. $1 spent is 1 point. There are no bonus points. So let's talk about the dollars, right? Well, I'm still ink. It takes a lot of ink blending. It takes a lot of ink blending. But anywho, so for the single kit, if you just buy it because you saw it and you liked it, the classic is $36.99 and the premium is $49.99. If you are a subscriber, month by month, it's $34.99 for the classic kit and $47.99 for the premium. If you decide that you know you're going to love the kits and you don't want to miss out on them and you go with a 6-month subscription, the classic kit is $32.99 and the premium is $45.99. And I think that pretty much covers all the logistics. Everybody has different needs and wants in the crafty community. I think both of the kits are really great deals. But you know what works for you. I used to subscribe to a card kit and I found that for me, I just didn't really use them. I wanted to use too many other products. But if you're a person like Carla comments, she follows me and she comments on my channel all the time, and she makes so many cards for cancer, and so she is making tons of them. So like something like this may make sense for her because she could use these products in so many different ways and really kind of get all out of it what she could. For somebody like me who's always making kind of a different card or wants to use different products, it might not make as much sense, but you do whatever works for you. So let's talk about the card. So here, this is that kind of butterfly wreath, and I went ahead and cut that out of one of the pieces of cardstock. You can see here how they layer, because I was looking for more of a night sky type look. The sentiment I chose kind of lends itself that way. Plus, I don't know if you've noticed, in that wreath die cut, there's kind of like stars and moons and stuff like that. So I'm using the Hero Art Shimmer Spray, and I am also using the white metallic watercolor to create this starry background, but only on one of the pieces. You certainly could do it on 2 of the pieces, but I just wanted you to be able to kind of see it through the window. And so I used the tubing to just spatter on some of that shimmer spray, and then I added a little bit of water to my white metallic watercolor to make it just so it's easier to spatter. And then I used a smaller brush. I used a number 2 round brush to just kind of spatter that all over. I feel like it's looking pretty sky-like. And then here you'd be able to see the difference, how you can see the stars through there. And that's exactly the look I was going for. Now, this is a piece of craft foam. I haven't used it in ages, and I used it for 2. Isn't that funny? I haven't used it in ages, and I used it for 2 of the cards that I made because I used it for the shaker too. This die didn't have any issue cutting through the craft foam whatsoever, and I decided to use this just to give myself some dimension and some space between the card front and then the background of my card. If you wanted to turn this into a shaker, which would be fantastic, I'm going to adhere my card front to my foam. Then you would just adhere your acetate in between those 2 layers instead of, just doing the card front to the foam. You would use the foam would act as like your foam tape. I hope that makes sense. So I just slide a piece of acetate in between these 2 in order to create a shaker card, which, like I said, is what I did with the rainbow colored one. So at this point, I'm not going to adhere this to the other piece of cardstock because I need to be able to move it in order to stamp my sentiment. So here I did notice that there were just like a couple of pieces of foam that hadn't, like the smaller stars that hadn't popped out all the way. So I just went ahead and used my tweezers to kind of push them out to make sure that all of those openings would be open. And then we're going to move on to coloring the butterflies. I love butterflies, period, but you can use any butterflies that you have. If you purchase the premium kit, these comes with it, and I think that they're great. I think that they're beautiful butterflies. Speaking of beautiful butterflies, as one of the add-ons, which is a product that will be replaced. It'll be restocked after it's sold out. Hero Arts also released that. It's a stamp set, but then there's a bundle with a stamp and a die. So if you decided that the kit wasn't for you, but you super loved the butterflies, you probably have some in your collection. I don't know who doesn't. I don't mean that as a judgment. I just mean I have so many. It's unfathomable to me. But anyway, that would be a wonderful alternative to these, where these are just dies, so they do all of the etching And you can see that kind of as we're adding the ink blending to them. You can see all that detail that's etched into those dies that's then pushed into the cardstock. You would have to stamp them first and then cut them out with their coordinating dies, but it certainly would be a comparative alternative to these dies. So for the largest one, nobody's surprised here. Blue's my boyfriend. I went with an all blue. So I basically used the same colors that I used for my night sky for that largest butterfly. And then I'm going to bring in some pinks and purples just because I thought that they'd be really pretty with that blue background. Alternatively, I think I love a lime green with a navy, so I think that would be really nice. Like, a lime green, a yellow, and some blue butterflies with this type of background. But you do whatever combinations work for you. Now, you heard me before say I kind of went back and forth about whether or not to do this video. Not because I don't think the card is good or because I don't think the technique is worth it, but because it is either you subscribe or you don't, and if you don't, then it's limited time. And I'm not always a huge fan of that. So that's why I was like, do I do it? Do I not? And I decided that I felt like butterflies were kind of like a benign enough thing that most people would either have them or have access to them, that you wouldn't need the kit to recreate this card, and that it would be okay to go ahead and share it. I do try to be conscientious of those things, because I'm just not a huge fan of the hurry up and get it or you're going to miss out kind of thing. But I also understand a company's need to not carry as much overhead, which, I mean, is a thing. Like, they have to pay for that warehouse, they have to pay to store it, if nobody's purchasing it. So I understand both sides of it. So I like sharing the cards where there is a comparative alternative. So here I did the blue and the purple together. And then quite a few of them ended up getting black on their outside edges just because I happen to like that combination. You'll also see that while I'm doing this, I kind of gave them a little low-tack tape handle. Mostly this worked out for me. There was one, I think it was like the second one, where it just wouldn't stick. And then once I had gotten enough ink on the tape, I couldn't make it re-stick. But you guys know that with dies, I do not love chasing them all around my desk. And so this is my attempt at making sure that I could keep hold of them, and then still be able to do my ink blending. This last butterfly is mostly pinks, with just a little bit of purple on the edges. And then I really liked this butterfly. Probably the all blue butterfly and this butterfly were my two favorites. Just because, and of course I'm going to add the black, I told you. Well, I guess all of them got the black. All of them got the pitch black on their edges. I just really like how vibrant this is in the center. Now, let's talk about adding some detail. Everybody is different, but I like to have a more detailed look to my items, to my focal points. And because of the etching with the dies, this makes it really easy. So first things first, I went in and gave them a body you could see. So I just used a black Copic marker. You could use a black colored pencil, or you could even use a water-based marker as long as you were conscientious about where your card ended up. I had someone who mailed me a card, which was very kind of them, but when I got it, it had sat in the rain, just because of where my mailman put it, and it was all like running all over the place, and I was heartbroken because it was such a beautiful card. But anyway, so the second way I'm going to add detail is with my white gel pen. There's different opinions on the market. I have always used the jelly roll, and that has not been an issue for me. Several people have asked me, how do they keep their jelly roll, like how do they maintain its whiteness instead of having it pick up the color underneath? And I'm going to tell you that mostly that depends on the medium. So you could maybe give it some extra, like whatever medium you colored with, you could give it some extra dry time, but I don't know that that would make that much difference. I would have to do a little bit more research, but oftentimes it's fine. Like for me, it looks fine. If it does absorb any of the color underneath it, usually for me, it's like a pink or a red. And I'm not really sure why that happens, but I would venture to say 95% of the time that does not happen to me. And I don't give it a lot of dry time, so I'm not really sure. So the first two you saw, I just did dots of color. Moving on to these next two butterflies, I am going to start filling in some other areas solid, and just trying to make each one kind of look a little bit different. I also know that I'm going to go in, and the third way I'm going to add detail is using glitter. So I'm trying to leave some areas open for me adding those glitter. You could also, instead, if you weren't a glitter person, or if you wanted glitter and something, you could do like a glossy accents. That would be really pretty to just give them some more detail, because, when you have a stamp, it puts in all that detail for you. Now, these dies have a ton of detail, so it makes it really easy to do this portion of it, but it does mean that you kind of have to take that extra step to make them look give them an element that pops. Not that they're not pretty on their own, they are, and none of this is necessary, but if you want to kind of just bring your die cuts up to the next, to make them a little fancier, if you will, this is what I did. So now I'm just double checking my placement so that I can do the stamping of my sentiment. I have not added the glitter at this point, just so we're clear. So I'm double checking that, making sure that I'm happy with the way that they're looking. And then I chose my sentiment. I'm going to stamp it in the center of the window. And the reason that I'm putting my butterflies down is because I want to check and make sure that none of their wings are going to overlap my sentiment or anything like that. Remove those, I'll remove the top, and then I will be able to go ahead and stamp this in my, what did I use? I used pitch black, I think. But it would also be really pretty if you wanted to white heat emboss it, but because I had all those black accents on my butterflies, I was trying to tie in those elements. I'm trying to remember what we talked about the last time I did a video. I think I told you about how Peanut got his finger stuck in the CD. But really, so basketball season is over for us. That is, we had our playoff game this past Saturday, and they played one at 11, and then if they won, they played a second one. Unfortunately for the team, they did not win. It was very fortunate for us, though, because Miss Caitlin would have not made it. Her nap time is typically between 12:30 and 1, and so we knew we would kind of be pushing it, but for some reason she was like extra tired. She was even falling asleep during the first game, so thankfully, that sounds terrible, but thankfully they lost, and we were able to get home, feed her lunch, and then get her into bed in a timely fashion. So while I do enjoy very much seeing him play basketball, even though I'm not a sports person at all. Here, I'm putting my butterflies into place. Some of them I popped up on foam, and some of them I just adhered flat. I almost never adhered their wings down, or at least not both wings, because I like that little bit of movement. I mean, I'll be able to lay them flat if I wanted to mail it. We both know I'm not going to mail it. We know that. But if I wanted to mail it, I would be able to lay their wings down flat, but that I didn't find it necessary to really put, too much of anything underneath their other wing. I did add a little bit of foam tape on the other side just to make sure like it was secured, but it wasn't going to be so much so that the wing would be completely flat and I wouldn't be able to kind of fluff them up. But anyway, I do immensely enjoy watching him play basketball, even though I don't love sports. But I will not miss the kind of crazy wild ruckus that we had every Saturday morning trying to get ready ourselves, pack her up, make sure he had all of his things, in his bag, his jersey, getting him, motivated in the morning because some of their games were at like 10 o'clock, which means we're, having to leave by, if it was up to my husband, we'd be leaving by 9:30, but realistically we had to leave by 9:40. but like sometimes it was just crazy early, and then making sure she was fed and getting back for nap time and all that jazz. So that part of the circus I will not miss. But it was really fun to see him play this year, and he was much more of an active participant. I think I told you guys before, he's a really good teammate. And I'll be interested to see if he wants to play next year in the 5th grade league or not. So now here I'm adding the glitters, and like I said, I'm just going to fill this in kind of in the areas where I didn't put any white gel pen, as just a added little extra detail to make them different, to make them mine, which you guys know I always encourage you to do that when you're creating a card, to do something that, you know, makes it so that it's in your style and not the same as everybody else's. That's how I also prefer to do my card making. So I've added all the glitters to everything. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is these white hero pearls. I'm going to use them to create some accents around my sentiment. I always like to start them on a scrap piece of paper, and then, you know, I just put them down. The white I thought worked really nicely with the background we already had going, and then that's it. That's the whole card. There's a blog hop, there's giveaways, there's lots of good stuff over. I will link it below if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for your time. I always appreciate you, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.